Thursday, Cherries fans. Hope you're doing well. Looking forward to this weekend's game against Spurs. It's annoying that it's a 12:30 kickoff, though. Really do not like those. But TNT have obviously chosen it because it's a game that could be full of goals. 3-2 to Spurs, 3-2 to Bournemouth. How's it going to be this time? To chat about it, Tom got hold of an opposition fan, and it's someone that you probably recognise.
Yep, so for the opposition preview, we have a person you probably will recognise, the producer of The Fighting Cock, the better half of JAFFN, and all-round top guy. Is that all right for you, Flav?
Yeah, it's fine. We do. I haven't forgotten last season, by the way.
Forgotten what?
I haven't forgotten. Well, just your behaviour towards me. When Bournemouth beat a team that was completely disinterested in Tottenham Hotspur at the end of the season. So, but I remember the way you conducted yourself then. And should Tottenham Hotspur roll over Bournemouth at the weekend, you're going to get it.
Well, is that what you're anticipating, Flav? I was going to say that, considering you've lost your main man, Harry Kane, you've had a couple of managers that on paper, the best CVs. But for some reason, there seems a lot of optimism, a lot of enthusiasm at the moment with Spurs. Is that fair enough? You're going to win the league. Is that what's happening?
Absolutely, yeah, we're going to win the league. Big Ange Postecoglou, bringing the good times back to White Hart Lane. Look, I mean, we're not excited because we think we're going to actually do anything this season. It's not like we're looking at it going, we can qualify for the Champions League or we expect anything like that. Merely, we're in a situation where we're enjoying our football again. So if you talk to any Spurs fans, we're completely giddy at the idea that we're going to go to watch. But I've been to Bournemouth a few times. I was desperate to go this time. I've seen us play under Pochettino at the end of his career when we went down to 9 men. I was there then. I can't remember. I think I've been there once before. And generally, I go to Bournemouth thinking it's going to be tough. Don't really expect much. Now I'm just going, whether we win or lose, you're going to see a great game of football. And that's the mentality that you've got at Spurs at the moment. It's very different from before where we was expecting Conte to deliver. We were expecting big things like a title challenge, which in hindsight sounds stupid. But if you remember this time last year, we were doing all right. We just qualified for Champions League and we felt like we were in a really good position. We strengthened in the transfer market. And we were all excited. And then Conte turned out that he was an absolute lunatic and destroyed everything from the inside out.
Yeah, no, I did feel like that. It's weird because there's probably, you wouldn't think there'd be too many parallels. But I think with ourselves, a lot of people were surprised, firstly with Scott Parker and then with Gary O'Neill and getting rid of him after doing what he was asked to do and keeping us up.
Yeah.
But it's very similar in the sense that we're kind of like just enjoying it again. Like we play similarly very open. And attacking football. You saw at Anfield, they had too much quality, but we went for them. And
you're unlucky, I thought.
Yeah, I thought we played really well. And like I say, their sending off's been rescinded, but we can't do anything about the penalty. That was never a penalty, so it was frustrating. But they had too much quality, and I think there's probably going to be similarities in this game in the sense that I think both teams will go for it. Both teams will be really, really open. This at the moment we haven't quite got the quality to, maybe delivering them clinical moments against them sort of sides. But as you said with yourselves, mate, it's great to just enjoy your football. I mean, Parker and O'Neill was very pragmatic and quite dull, but equally, we were all very, at the time, we just needed to stay up, and Gary did do that.
I was quite impressed with how you went about that business, actually, just getting rid of Gary O'Neill. There's no time for sentiment,
no, exactly.
Right? And actually, and bringing in a manager that was well sought after. Leeds would have got him if I remember rightly. Leeds were after him, and he had an agreement that he would see out his contract, or he was unwilling to break his contract, and he's got to the end, and now he's joined Bournemouth, and he probably made a good decision there because obviously Leeds went down. But his brand of football and what he's achieved previously meant that it was a really excellent appointment. I thought I was really impressed. I've been impressed with the business you've done as well. So. This. I don't think you've got any danger. What are your? I know this is the opposition preview, but what are your expectations for the season?
I think at the moment, because there's obviously like them cliche words of project and a process and all that stuff. But I think it is obviously you've got to say 17th's the minimum expectation. Make sure you stay in the league. But I think we just want to see a style, a kind of way of playing. I want to turn up and know how we're going to play, kind of thing, just see a slow progression, I guess, because things off the pitch are starting to happen in terms of training ground, new stadium. hopefully coming around the corner. So I think if we could just see a slow, I mean, everyone kind of club our size is looking at your Brentfords and your Brightons, and to be fair to us, the ambition shown, as you said, mate, with the manager, but also with some of the signings, Tyler Adams, Alex Scott, they were looked at by bigger clubs than Bournemouth on paper.
Well, Spurs were looking at Alex Scott for a while, and it didn't happen. So to bring him in, and he's an excellent midfielder, and definitely is an upgrade to what you had previously.
Yeah, definitely, mate. It's
just, so you got to be excited. There's much worse. There's worse teams in the Premier League, but there's also the structure of some of these clubs is in free fall. Like Wolves, I know they've actually started quite well, but played relatively well, but there's something not right there.
I agree. Yeah.
No, yeah. So I think you're 100% stay up.
Yeah, it's dangerous, but I agree. I think this is the first time I thought it's quite comfortable for me to find 3 teams that I think will finish below us.
Yeah.
But yeah, going on to the game, Flav, like you said, you've had some tricky ones here, but also, I think there's only been the one defeat, that one you said you went to with the 9 men, that we actually beat you at home. So as much as you're optimistic, as you said, you think Bournemouth are looking in a good place. Are you not expecting them to just come down here and slap us up then? Are you thinking it could be a potential banana skin or?
No, I don't think it's either one of those things. I think it's come to a point where going away to Bournemouth is a legitimate Premier League fixture, and it's not a banana skin, and it's certainly not one that you approach and go into thinking that you're going to, as you say, slap you up. The confidence that I have comes from the brand of football that we're playing and the quality that we have in the squad. It can't be forgotten the amount of money, and I often bang on about how much money Arsenal spent. Spurs have spent a fortune in the last 5 years, something like 400 million in net spend. It's a crazy amount. This summer we brought Maddison in. We got Van de Ven. I don't know how much you know about him, but he looks like a right
start.
Yeah, great start, but also rapid. And what we've got is a system that is certainly risky, and the high line is excessive to the point sometimes because we're in the half and we've got no one in our own half apart from the goalkeeper. So you're like, this is risky. But the way he's sort of gone about negotiating some of the pitfalls to his tactics is to have a rapid back line. Now, Pedro Porro is very quick. Udogie is very quick. Van de Ven's quick. And Romero is not a slouch, but isn't as fast as the other 3. So we have thus far been able to kind of recover somewhat from the counter-attacking football.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's necessarily what we're going to see. I think they're going to have 2 teams trying to play each other, right? Would that be fair?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think there's some similarities in the way you described your football in terms of we'll be high, we'll have a high line and try and, as I said, you saw it at Anfield, we just went for them and we were going to leave gaps and they were going to counter on us. And then once they got control of the game because they're a better side, it was difficult for us. But yeah, we always think if we can get that first goal like we did at Liverpool, then we're always going to have chances on the break against these sort of sides. We're quite athletic and pacey going forward. But yeah, again, we will get our fullbacks, for example, like to bomb on and leave space. So it can be challenging. And like you say, your fullbacks are pretty.
We don't really have fullbacks. It's weird.
Win backs, isn't it? Really, yeah.
Well, they're midfielders.
Yeah.
They when we've got the ball, the inverted fullback isn't anything new. Guardiola's been doing it for years, and Ange Postecoglou's been doing it elsewhere for years as well. So, but when we've got the ball in attack, we essentially create a block of 4 in defence. So you have Van de Ven and Romero that will stay back, and then whoever the fullbacks are against United, it was Udogie and Porro. They just went into midfield and then they essentially become centre midfielders. Then everybody else sort of goes forward. So it's mental to see. Like I said, having 3 or 4 years of just watching this 3-4-3 formation, passing it around, no movement, no energy from the players to try and get into position, losing the ball over and over again, and then just reverting back to that low block. It was mind-numbingly boring to watch.
And the only way you can the only way you feel like you can kind of accept that is if you go and win something with Conte Marino, isn't it? Everyone knows the football's going to be a bit, but because they didn't deliver, it's a bit like I say, with ourselves, we were hating what we were watching with Gary Neal, but he done what he needed to do. So we you know what I mean? So we were, thank you very much. But as you said, someone become available and we decided to try and move forward. But yeah, I think the way Ange plays is certainly going to be exciting for you. But do you think, I don't know if they're if you're linked with too many before the window closes, but I was looking at it and a lot of people are saying, oh, they need to replace Kane. But the way I look at it is, in Ange-ball, you're going to score goals. You will score goals, whatever. So do you need to maybe look at more defensive reinforcements? I know you said Van der Veen started well, but do you think you'll get some bodies in still?
If someone, I mean, I guess so. I mean, it's been reported that we're in for several. We're in for Gift Orban, who's this striker from Belgium, Nigerian striker, and he's tipped to have a big future. With Brennan Johnson as well. We've been linked with talking about 50 million there, and Orban's going to be like 30 million. So you're like, that's 80 million. That's the Kane money gone pretty much on Brennan Johnson and Orban. My preference, and I'm not sure if it's going to happen because we're not linked with any centre backs anymore, would be a centre back. It would be another bit of cover for either two of our centre backs, because if Romero gets injured or if Van der Ven gets injured, then we are stuck with the back line that was exactly the same as the end of last season, which wasn't fit for purpose. So Sanchez would come in,
he's had
which
a
is worrying.
Time, hasn't he?
He's had torrid 7 years. I can't believe he's still at the club, considered a first-team footballer. But there was some people have sort of called their disdain towards him after his performances in pre-season, and he came on after 10 minutes against Brentford, to play well. So they're going, well, maybe he's all right, but maybe he's all right isn't what you need. You need to be deliberate in what you're trying to do, and just trusting that Sanchez might be okay in the Postecoglou system isn't enough for me. So instead of buying a striker, I'd rather spend big money on a centre back like Tapsoba, and another rapid centre back who's probably, if you look at his stats, twice as good as Van der Ven. So. Yeah. But striker is what's being mooted or forward for sure.
Yeah, it probably makes sense for, like you say, maybe a bit of cover there. I think Sanchez was actually the one when we won at your place. He came on and then they subbed him back off.
So that was that. So it's funny you say that. Yeah, that's it was the booing. Yes. I mean, you remember it? It was terrible. But it's hard to describe that, explain that, because it was as much of it was about the club being in a position where Sanchez is the answer again, as it was his performance. Yeah. I didn't agree with it, but it just shows you his resilience to come back and play in high pressure games and perform well. It shows something about Sanchez's character, but he's, as a footballer, not at the level you want to. No, Davinson Sanchez would never be signed by anybody in the top 10 in the Premier League.
No, I agree.
But he could be our starting centre back.
Yeah, that's the worry. Like I say, a bit of depth.
Would you want him?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
There you go. It tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, no, totally. I think one of the key things as well I was going to mention, obviously it's only a couple of games in, but out of all the bad decisions Conte made, not playing Basuma, I mean, he looks different class. And as you said, mate, it's not, even though he's known as more of a holding midfield player, the way I've seen him in the 2 games, it shows that he can be a bit box to box as well. He can drive forward, can't he? And I think it was the first game he was with Skip, and then he went with Sarr, didn't he? But whoever was next to him looked a better player for playing next to Basuma. He must feel like a new signing.
Or he is a new signing because Conte just
weird.
Sorry, I don't know if you're swear. It is weird because how do you look at him and go, no, he's not good enough? I mean, this is a question you've been hearing from Spurs fans since the season started. We knew he was good. Everyone knew he was good from his time at Brighton. It's not a surprise. It's just mental that he didn't get a look in. He is mustard. And you look at the kind of money that number 6s are going for in the Premier League at the moment. Lavia costs twice as much as Basuma. Caicedo costs 5-6 times as much, or 5 times as much. So, I mean, we're lucky. It was a great bit of business, and a great bit of business to get Maddison in as well. Like Daniel Levy gets a lot of critics, but sometimes he gets it really right. And the signing of Maddison and Basuma, as it's now patterned now, have been great signings. He's mustard, like he said. He's great at stopping play, but he's as good as resisting press. And I think this is where this game's going to come down to, isn't it? Is how well can the other team break the press and break the lines? Yeah. And we've got a lot of players that can do it. Sarr's very good, very good. I think he's going to go on to have a really good career.
Do you think he'll play over Skip in this game? Because they both started a game each, haven't they?
Yeah. Ange said that the reason why those so Emerson Royale had a really good game against Brentford, and then he dropped him, and Skip was okay, 6 out of 10 against Brentford. And Postecoglou said, I can't tell. There's only so much I can learn from a player's ability on the training pitch. I have to see them play in proper games. So I made the decision to rotate them so that I can see what they're up to. And that's like, you might expect them to, that's like a good tactic if you've got like, I don't know, Morecambe in the cup, where not a lot's riding on it. There's Man United at home. So you obviously trust in them. So to answer your question, I have no clue who's going to start other than the sort of 5 or 6 that are guaranteed, like, Son and Kulusevski, Basuma.
Madison's got a knock, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping anyway.
Yeah, they said that he could play, but it's unlikely because they don't want to risk him getting further injury. He got a bang on the foot, so yeah, he wouldn't play in his absence. It's a tricky one. I mean, yeah, well, you'd expect so, but if you believe the reports, Lo Celso's unhappy at not playing any minutes in the first 2 games, so he wants to leave. Apparently, he's a really weird gentleman as well, which he doesn't really kind of fit in.
Yeah,
so that's part.
There's little times I've seen him and I thought, there's a player there, and then other times I thought, is he up to much? I'm not sure really. He reminded me a bit like kind of your Lamellas, Brian Keel. They were all kind of on their day. You thought, they have got something, but maybe it's consistency a little bit.
Lo Celso's head and shoulder. His ceiling's so much higher than those players that you mentioned. He's better than that. He's a really good number 8/number 10, and he could definitely cut it in the Premier League. And with the right coach above him or the environment, then he'd be more than good enough. He really would. His technical ability isn't in question. It's his mentality and what he's willing and wanting to do. Same goes to Andoni-ball.
Yeah.
You can't criticize how good a player he is, but he just doesn't want to do it. And if they don't want to do it, what's the point keeping him around?
Yeah, no.
So I hope that Lo Celso starts. That's what I'd like. But whatever Ange says is fine as well.
Whatever Ange says goes, mate. Exactly. Yeah. Go on then. Prediction for you, final. Let's do your final prediction of the league table. Where do you think you'll finish and where do you think Bournemouth will finish? I know we're quite early, but go on, give us a big one.
No, that's all right. League table. I said I'd be really happy with 5th.
Okay.
Because it's
Champions League, isn't it? Now.
Yeah. I think a realistic prediction, maybe 6th. I've been really conservative 7th, but I think a lot. The reason why I say this, why I qualify that, is that we were warned when Postecoglou comes in that it takes time. His system is very different from what the players will be used to, and in the Premier League, there's so much quality that there will be times we get exposed. So we were kind of anticipating losing games, and we're only 2 games in, so it may still happen. But he's also said, look, the quality the players' ability to interpret what I want is much easier in the Premier League because the level of the players that they're playing at, the level they're playing at makes it easier. So who knows? But if we get anywhere near 5th, that would be great.
Yeah. No.
Bournemouth, I'm going to say more like, I think you have a good season. I want to say 12th.
Yeah, I think a lot of people seem to be saying, like I say, you've always got to be a bit cautious, but I think similarly to Tottenham, there's definitely kind of enthusiasm and optimism at the moment. And what about Gordon? You said it's not going to be a slap us about, so give us a little prediction for the weekend, mate. What do you think? Because I think this one stinks of goals.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. With my Bournemouth hat on, I'd go 2-2, but I do think there's going to be goals.
I think it's 3-2 Spurs. Repeat of last season, perhaps, but less dramatic.
Yeah, at least we know that was.
How was that last season when Bentancur?
Yeah, what's that? Is he just still crocked? Like for a while?
He'd be back in about 4 weeks, apparently.
Okay, not too bad. Because he changed that game. It completely, not just the goal at the end. He completely changed the game, just started controlling the midfield. And suddenly we couldn't get the ball.
No, he's excellent.
Yeah.
And he was kind of, when our season very much fell apart when he got his ACL. And it didn't, wasn't helped by Conte as well. But yeah, so it'll be back in 4 weeks. It'll be an interesting. I mean, I long for the day that I see Basuma, Maddison, and Bentancur in our midfield.
Now that sounds nice, doesn't it? Yeah,
it's got to rank amongst some of the best in the league for sure. But we'll see. But yeah, we don't have him, so I think I'm going to say 3-2 Spurs.
I think that's fair. It'll probably, it was last season, wasn't it? But cheers for coming on, Flav. Really appreciate it, mate. And
pleasure.
All the best for the season, but not on Saturday, of course.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.